So, good morning, student. Uh, we'll discuss today. We'll know brief about the what is rust and how many species and genera are involved in causing diseases in the basically in the wheat and other cereal host. So, rust is basically a plant pathogenic fungi, belongs to the order Puccineales under the phylum of Basidiomycota. And basically, rust means it is characterized by a reddish brown and orange pustules, and this pustules is due to the spores that is called the iridospores. But in some cases, like yellow and black rust pustules, colors may be different. Sometimes it may be the brown, sometimes it may be yellow, and sometimes it may be red, and sometimes it may be black. So, you know all about the iron rust. So, its look, the rusty appearance on the plant's surface, then we usually call as a rust. So, rust are functionally a highly specialized obligate pathogenic fungi and which requires the living host cell to survive, because this is we cannot grow this pathogen on culture media, although many workers have tried to create some organic cultures to grow in laboratory. They succeeded in some cases, but a majority are not having cultural level. So, this order, particularly the Puccineales, earlier known as Uridinales, comprises of the more than 7,000 species distributing among the 100 genera. So, you can see the diversity of these fungi, and besides this, rust is also known as historically, it is a very important dreaded diseases in the human civilization also, which causes a serious epidemics in the world, including in our country. So, rust have a great economic impact because of yesterday in classes I have told you that this pathogen doesn't need have any passport. It can travel along and cause a havoc in the world over wherever the wheat crop and other cereal crops are grown. So, rust has a very rich history in human civilization. There are many scientists have reported the occurrence in world over, but we will select we will discuss only some of the findings of some of the scientists. Pliny, somewhere they call Pliny also. He is basically a Roman author, and he at that time he was involved in collecting the natural data, and he lived in first century, and he was the only person who described the rust of wheat as the greatest enemies of the crop, greatest enemies, pest of the crops, particularly the wheat and barley. So Aristotle is another scientist who wrote several things on rust, and they have termed that rust is produced due to the warm vapors, and mentioned the devastation and epidemics of rust caused in the wheat and barley. Theophrastus is also reported rust was the most severe on the cereals and the legumes, because he also reported that the barley and the wheat was worse affected by the rust pathogen. Rust of wheat and barley was also the most destructive diseases known to the Roman farmers during the Roman Empire, and uh, uh, did you know the Romans have celebrated the festival Robagalia? Romans at the time they plagued with this rust pathogens, and they thought that this was a curse of a Roman god. In this slide, Roman believed that rust god has destroyed their crop because they punished him on the indices of a 12-year boy who caught a fox robbing his father's hen roost, and he tied this fox with a straw, and he burned it. And the Roman thought that the rust god Robigus is because he was the god of Mars, and the Mars color is red. So he thought that the Robigus and the god, they have sent this pathogen to their crop to destroy their livelihood. So to appease them, Roman celebrated a religious festival and named as a Robigalia, and this festival was celebrated in the spring on 25th April of each of the year, and this was started from 700 before the Christ until the decline of the Roman Emperor. So it was thought the time that the cruel god was responsible for crop destroying, and on this day they sacrifice the orange color or red color animals, particularly the sheep and the dog, and in the hope that the Robigus will not send any kind of mishappening or the pathogens to destroy their crop, so that they can harvest successful crop. So as per taxonomy is concerned, you can see the rust comes under the phylum Basidiomycota, class is the Iridinomycetes, order is the Puccineales, earlier known as Iridinales, and family is Puccinaceae. So this Puccinaceae contains more than 17 genera of the more than approximately 4,000 species, which are among these majority of having genus Puccinia. So what are the characters of Puccinia? Why we called as a Puccinia? Because one scientist, T. Puccini, he is an Italian anatomist, and he described and characterized and named the Puccinia on his name. So in this particularly, tomorrow there is a class of Dr. Diba Kamil where we will learn better the genera of rust fungi at this morphological level. So I'm not going detail. Here the only differences is the spores. The teleospores is stalked and produced on the terminally on the metabasidium, and teleospores are mostly two-celled, and in some species there may be a one-celled teleospore that is known as a mesospores. So rust has a pleomorphic life cycle. Pleomorphic life cycle means it has a polymorphic life cycle. It require many spores to complete their life cycle. And also if rust pathogen completes their life cycle on single host, then it will be autocoeous. If it required two unrelated hosts, unrelated means the one is the main host and the second is the unrelated means the alternate host. So if they require two hosts, and then it will be the heterocoeous, and the macrocyclic and microcyclic life cycle. Macrocyclic means the long phases are involved, and microcyclic means the little phases are involved. So we'll take the example of typical life cycle of the rust fungi from the Puccinia graminis tritici, that is stem rust. The stem rust are typically a microcyclic heterocoeous rust because it's required two different hosts to complete their life cycle, and polymorphic because it have a 5 distinct spore stages, and which is frequently numbered as a 0 to 4, and it's mostly differ in their morphology and cytological characters. So you can see here the 5 spore stages. The first spore stages was identified very late, so they named as a stage 0. So pycnial or spermogonial stage and stage 0 and acial stage of stage 1 first. They mostly occurs on the sexual during the sexual reproduction on the alternate host, that is Berberis or Thalictrum. But later you will know that in India we doesn't have any role of Berberi for the annual occurrence of the rust pathogen in the country. So Other three stages called the second stage is the uridial, and third stage is the teleal stage, and the fourth stage is the basidiosporal stage, and they all are occurs on the during the asexual reproduction on the main host, that is wheat. So this is a typical, or you can say the general life cycle of black stem rust of wheat, Puccinia gramineae. Here you can see the acial stages, and the basidiospores are formed on the host plant, this berberis, the wheat, and the sexual stages on the berberis. So we'll discuss in detail later. The stages of Puccinia and alternate host Berberi, the stage 0, that is the pycnial and spermogonial stage, and the pycnia is mostly bearing the pycniospores, that is the uninucleate, and it's mostly appears on the upper surface of the leaves. So the major differences between the pycniospore and the aciospore, pycniospores appears on the upper surface and aciospores appears on the lower surface of the same leaf, not on the different, same leaf. Upper surface will be the pycniospores, and the lower surface will be the aciospores. Can you operate this? So here you can see the upper surface of the Berberi leaf. Here is small cupulated shape of the spermogonia, or you can say the pycnia, and there are several spores inside the upper surface, and it's having many receptive hyphae. And the second, मैं बोलूँगा तब करना. Next, forward. Okay. Next. So here in the case of pycniospores, there is a receptive hyphae, and the spermatia, is negative, and the receptive hyphae is the positive. So here the function working is called as a spermatization. So the minus spores act as a receptor, plus spore act as a receptor, and the minus spore act as a donor. So they form, after spermatization, they form the pycniospore. Next. So here you can see the upper surface of the leaf having the pycniospores, and the lower surface of the leaf having development of acidiospores. This is inverted cupulated structure, and inside the inverted cupulated structure there is a huge number of acidiospores. Next. Here you can see the acial stage, that is first stage, form on the next. Next. This is the huge number of, actually the aciospores found mostly in the chains and released one by one. Next. The second stage is the iridial stage. Iridia, in the case of iridial stages, mostly iridia bearing the iridospores, and these iridospores are mostly the uninucleate. And you can see the iridospores. Iridospores, the only stages in the life cycle of rust which infect the wheat. And in countries like India, this iridospores is also known as a repeating spores, because it's causing reinfection in wheat, and this iridospore is the only responsible for annual occurrence in our country, because in India we don't have any alternate host to survive the to give the opportunity to survive the rust in absence of the main host. Next. So you can see here the teleospores, that is basically this is stalked and unicellular, oval, binucleate structures, and rusty red in color. Sometimes it looks like yellow in color in case of the yellow rust, and the black in case of the black rust. Next. So this is teleal stage. Teleal stage is basically a last stage occurs on the wheat, and mostly during the summer, or you can say the late growing season in the in wheat plant. This due to the metamorphosis, iridospores converted into the teleospores. So sometimes these are you can see the iridospore of stripe rust. The whole stripe rust due to the hot weather, it converted to into the teleospores. Teleospores are basically a iridospori, and it forms in the iridospori also, and mostly they are dark and black in color, and sometimes it create confusion with the stem rust. Next. So this is binucleate spindle-shaped teleospores. And next. And the basidium is the fourth stage of the life cycle of the rust fungi, and it's mostly formed by the germination of the teleospores. Teleospores produce the hypobasidium, then epibasidium, then asterigmata is formed, and on asterigmata there is a 4 types of spores. 2 are the having plus and 2 are the negative. Next. So here you can see the discharge of basidiospores, and the basidiospores is the only spores after germination they cause infection in the alternate host, that is Burberry, and after causing infection they produce pycniospores on upper surface of the leaf. Pycniospores blown by the wind or transferred by the insect to the lower surface, they cause infection and they produce the asciospores. Next please. So here in case of rust, since this pathogen is a very conspicuous and highly specialized to their host, so here a phenomena is working, specialization of parasitism, and which is called as a biological specialization also, because the Puccinia is the genus and the Graminis is the subspecies. So Puccinia graminis tritsai is affecting infecting the wheat only, not to the barley and not to the oat. So this type of specialization is usually occurs in the rust life cycle, and after this here you can see beside the species there is a biospecies or subspecies. So this is having differences because they mostly have a similar in feature, but their specificity to cause disease is different. So based on this, we have a different type of specialization, and besides this specialization, we have a races and pathotype. So races and pathotypes is the identical form of the species or subspecies, but it is mostly different in the pathogenicity. They are the same in features and the morphology, but the ability to cause disease in the particular wheat cultivars, that is the different. So based on their differences, we usually categorize into the races, pathotypes, or strains. Means it is a form of that particular subspecies, but it is having many differences basically on the pathogenicity aspects. So we in races also we have a virulent race, aggressive race, and avirulent race. Avirulent means literally saying that avirulent doesn't have any pathogenicity to the host. Virulent have a ability to cause disease in a pathogen, and aggressiveness. What is the major differences between the aggressiveness and the virulence? Virulence is the ability to cause pathogen, and aggressiveness is the degree. So may or may not be, if a pathogen is more virulent, it may not be a more aggressive. More aggressive pathogen cannot be a virulent. A virulent pathogen can be a more aggressive and non-aggressive. Okay. Next. So these are the some important genera of Puccinia causing disease in different cereal crops and millet source. Like in case of wheat, we have a three major important rust, that is stripe rust, leaf rust, and brown rust. In barley, we have a four rust, stripe rust, crown rust, stem rust, and again a stripe rust, which is little bit different. Oat, we have a crown rust, stem rust. Rye, we have a leaf rust, crown rust, stem rust. And maize, we have a rust caused by Puccinia sorghum and Puccinia polyspora. Pearl millet is also infected with the rust pathogen, that is Puccinia penicillin. And sorghum is also infected with the Puccinia purpurea. Next. So we'll start with the little bit introduction, and then we'll discuss the rust of wheat. So wheat is one of the most important staple food crops globally, including our country also. And basically rice is the main, but wheat is major crop in terms of providing carbohydrate and protein to the human population in our India. So it is planted annually on an area of more than 215 million hectare with an annual production of the 6 billion tons in the world. India is still maintaining its second rank just after the China, and from last 10 years, and this particularly this year India has achieved a remarkable production. Next. So wheat is second most important crop after rice, and there are four species of wheat: Triticum aestivum, Triticum dicoccum, Triticum monococcum, and Triticum sphaerococcum. So among these bread wheat, Triticum aestivum contributes more, and remaining other production comes from the 4% comes from the durum wheat, and 1% comes from the Triticum dicoccum. Next. So this year during the last year we have produced very good amount of wheat. This is historical production, you can say. So we have produced more than 100 million tons of wheat, and with a productivity of 3.2 quintal per hectare. Despite of all this progress, you all about know we are going to cross the population, the China in terms of population. So to feed our overburgeoning population, we need additionally 140 million tons of food to feed our ever increasing populations by the year of 2050. Next. So these are the 6 wheat growing zone described in our country, and yesterday I told you that these northern hill zones and northern western plain zones covers the major area in our country, and we usually known as a wheat basket area of the country because it's produced more than 13 million hectare, 13 million wheat is grown in 13 million hectare area. So these are other zones also: northern eastern plain zone, central zone, peninsular zone, and southern hill zones. These areas are having high importance in terms of production also and appearance of many diseases. We'll discuss later. Next. So these are the major wheat diseases, and their distribution is mainly prevalent in the zone wise. So here you can see the stripe rust or yellow rust, which is mostly appeared in the northern western plain zone and northern hill zones. And the leaf rust is appeared throughout all zones, but their severity is very less. The stem rust is mainly restricted to the peninsular and central zones. Here you can see another important diseases like kernel bunt, spotch blotch, powdery mildew, and fusarium head scab, and these diseases are also prevalent in the different zone. Next. So yellow rust of wheat is first time described by Dr. Gudd in 1977. After that, Erickson and Henning also described. Highlander also worked on different aspects of rust, and now they termed that the Puccinia stripiformis because it's appear in a stripe form, and since it's have a high level of host specificity to the wheat, then they term as a Formis specialis triticii. So stripe rust has become very serious problems now these days, and it continues a big problem limiting yield potential worldwide, including India. Historically, this pathogen is considered to the favor to the cooler areas of the world, but the recent reports from Dr. Najari from the Afghanistan and some people from Iran also, they have reported this pathogen is adapting higher temperature. They have developed ability to adapt higher temperature, and this is a very serious concern for developing durable rust resistance variety. So it is highly destructive but not well understood at the molecular level, and it's becoming the threat of global food security. Next, please. So these are some recent historical, you can see some historical epidemics in different parts of the world. And in the Middle East, it appears in 2011 and caused serious yield losses in Syria, Iran, Turkey, and you can see the Central Asia. In 2010, 60% losses occurs in Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Australia also, Pakistan, USA, China, and India. In India, during 1997, a mega wheat variety is released by the Punjab Agricultural University, that is PBW 343. This variety at the time covers a large area, more than 9 million hectare area. A new race that is 78-84 appeared at the time and caused huge losses, more than 400 crore rupees. Next. So stipepress has already gained importance in India, particularly in the northern western plain zones and northern hill zones due to favorable weather condition, that is low temperature and high humidity, and posing a potential threat to wheat belt of this area. The earlier yellow rust is still not reported in Nilgiri Hills. It is mainly restricted to that region. And earlier we have a different weak pathotypes, because in past in our country stem rust was the major problem, but now we have three prevalent and predominant races occurring in this particular zone, that is 46-119, 1110-119, and 238-119. These races are highly virulent, aggressive, and it's become a very serious concern in developing resistance variety. So in India, we are only a 5-YR gene, that is YR2, YR2KS, YR9, YR18, and YR27, and these are postulated in among almost all Indian wheat cultivars, and these genes are having very narrow genetic base, not effective in India. These genes are highly susceptible to this particular pathogen. So see how much serious concern, how much serious this disease. So Indian population of PST, this population of stipepress is avirulent to YR5, 10, 15, and this type of resistance sources. So our breeders are mostly concentrating on using these genes in their breeding program to develop more durable and effective resistance sources. Next, please. We are continuously surveying to different parts of the country, and during the 2014-15, we have observed a majority of the wheat varieties having infection of stripe rust, not up to the level of epidemic, but a little bit infection are there. Means it shows that these varieties are ineffective, and we need some more effective variety in that particular zone. Next. So 78-84, you can see the infection potential of this particular race. This race break down the mega wheat variety PBW 343 in Punjab. So you can see here the huge coverage of iridoid spores of yellow in color. Next. This is another virulent race, that is 46-119 of stripe rust. Next. 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 Here you can see the potential of, or you can see the aggressiveness of these pathogens. huge masses are on the soil. Next. Now, the second important disease is leaf rust. Although this disease is appeared throughout the country, but since we have a very good amount of resistance sources in our Indian genetic pool, so we are not on the threat, but little bit appearance is we can observe throughout the country. So the prevalent pathotypes is 77-5 and 77-9 and 104-2 is the prevalent pathotypes of this rust. And here in case of leaf rust, LR9, LR19, LR24, 25, 29, 32, 39, 45 and 47 were resistant to the field population of these particular races. So we have a good source of resistance, so we need not to worry about the leaf rust pathogen. Next. Here you can see the major differences between all the three rust is the first is the appearance in color and appearance on the symptom. A stripe rust is, as name is a stripe, it appears only in the stripe form, and among the three rust, stripe rust is only the having the nature of partial systemic, while other rust are not. So here you can see the pinhead infection of the leaf rust, and you can easily identify with the stripe and the leaf. Next. Stem rust is not much serious concern at present, and because we have a little bit concern in the central and peninsular zone also, and it is largely considered as a control because earlier we don't have a early maturing variety, and early maturing variety growing variety at the recommended time means right and early sowing is the main strategy to reduce the threat of this pathogen. So at present, whatever the variety the breeders are developing, these varieties are having high yielding and SR2 resistance, and also these varieties are early maturing variety. So in case of rust, we have a two predominant races, that is 40A and 79G31, and these pathotypes are predominant, highly aggressive. And in India, SR26, SR27, 31, 32, 35, 39, 40, 43, and others were highly resistant to the Indian population of Puccinia gramineaceae. And in this stem rust, we have facing a problem of UG99. How many of you are aware about the UG99? UG99 we called as a UG because it's first time it observed in the Uganda in 1999, and basically stem rust is appears in favors the high temperature, but this pathogen is loving cool temperature. This is the main reason of their seriousness. So although we are not facing any problem with that particular UG99, but some of the country in the world like whole South Africa, Iran, and they are facing the problem with the UG99. Next. Here you can see the uridial and teleal stage spores of all the three rust, and you can see the little bit differences in the teleal stage, and the iridospore shape and morphology is almost similar. Only we can characterize based on the color. Otherwise, sometimes in a stem rust, you can see the long elongated binucleate biseptate teleospores. In case of little bit elongated two nucleate teleospores, and here means teleospores can easily be identified, but the characterization of iridospore is very difficult. Next. So this is Puccinia path. Puccinia path in India is only meant for the annual occurrence of the rust in our country, and this was termed by the Dr. S. Nagarajan. So here in case of you can see The whole part of the country is divided into 4 epidemiological zones. That is, zone 1 is the Western Hill zone, zone 2nd is the Central zone, and zone 3rd is the Northern Western Plain zone, and zone 4th is the Northern Hill zone. So as per Stemmerus is concerned, the main foci of infection occurs in the Nilgiri Hills, and during the off season it's multiply on the off type of plant or wheat on the wheat, and it comes by the western cyclonic disturbance. It's blown to the central part of the country, and they cause the infection in the central part. Yellow rust and brown rust comes from the northern hills and western sides, and these Nilgiris doesn't have any role in annual occurrence of stripe rust and leaf rust in northern part. Okay, next. So what are the approaches to manage the rust in wheat? So we have a different approaches like surveillance, trap plot nursery, resistance, chemical control, cultural practices. Next. So we are continuously in conducting many surveys for occurrence of diseases, and we have observed next. You can see the leaf rust, stripe rust infection in some parts of the Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana. Next. Leaf rust from Jammu Kashmir, Punjab, Haryana. Next. Powdery mildew from Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and some part of the UP. Next. And blast, wheat blast. Although this is a major concern to the West Bengal, because West Bengal is very near or sharing border with the Bangladesh. Since Bangladesh having occurrence of blast, so we continuously surveyed these areas, but we don't see any kind of infection by the wheat blast in that area. Next. So whatever the data during the survey we have collected, we have uploaded on the Rust Tracker website. So if you wanted to know about the occurrence in different parts of the country, you can open on Google the Rust Tracker, and you can put the year and which rust you are interested and which country. So you can select India, and you will have a brief idea of the annual occurrence and movement of rust pathogen in our country. Next. As per host resistance is concerned, host resistance is the only economical and effective and you can say the environmental friendly approach to manage the disease, because here fungicide is not involved, and here gene and genetic resistance is working. So it reduces the non-discriminate use of the fungicide in wheat crop also, and avoid the multiplication of rust, and beside this it's give the better yield. So these are the some effective R gene in India. YR10, YR11, 12, 13, 14, 16 are the effective gene in case of stripe rust. Like leaf rust, there are several genes, and stem rust we have a genes, and these are the commonly used yellow rust resistant gene in India. Breeders are using these genes in their breeding pool, and they are incorporating to develop better resistant variety. Our IRI has incorporated YR10, PAU has already released PBW725 like that. It has a YR10 resistance sources in there, and this variety is having high level of resistance against stripe rust. Next. So gene pyramiding is another important things in breeding program, because here we select more than 2-3 genes to incorporate in a single variety. So here you can see the PBW343. The breeders from PU, they are improving this PBW3, because earlier it was susceptible because it has a monogenic gene YR27 and YR9. Now they are improving this variety in addition to the YR10 and YR15. Also the leaf rust resistant gene also they are incorporating. Like several other varieties, breeders are working to incorporate the many genes. The concept besides gene pyramiding is to protect the plants from many races of the pathogen. Next. Here, breeders of the country have released several wheat varieties. SD 3086, SD 2967, SD 3059 is released by the IRI. SD means the hybrid derivatives of the Delhi. PBW means Punjab bred wheat, like that. VL means this was developed by the Almora, Dheeraj Institute, Vivekanand Parvati Krishi Anusandhan Kendra. So they use VL. And Raj also developed from the Rajasthan breeder, like that. WH is a wheat of Hisar, like that they have named at the time of releasing the variety. Next. At Delhi, we have, since there are two phenomena working in case of resistance in wheat, that is seedling resistance and adult plant resistance. Tomorrow we'll discuss in detail. So our major concern is to identify durable resistance sources, because durability is very much needed to fight and to combat with the many predominant races of the yellow rust also, and besides achieving the highest yield. So we have selected some of the exotic materials from the CIMMYT, that is Mexican core germplasm panel, and we have conducted an experiment and we screened these germplasm in the field condition. And there are several criteria to select the slow rusting resistance. Slow rusting resistance means the pathogen has ability to cause the disease, but without any harm to the yield. So tomorrow we'll discuss in detail. So we have different slow rusting parameters like the host response and epidemiological parameters, final rust severity, relative area under rust progress curve, coefficient of infection and apparent of infection. So in taking this data, we have assessed the level of slow rusting, and with this experiment we have identified some of the lines which are having high level of slow rusting adult plant resistance in wheat. We have also studied the relationship between these parameters in the variety, and we have observed the positive correlation with the final rust severity, also the relative area under rust progress curve, and followed by the infection rate. Next please. So these are the some of the advanced material we have screened, and these varieties have been in past, these varieties have been released for the cultivation in different parts of the country, and these varieties are having high level of resistance to both the major pathotypes of stripe rust, that is 1110-119 and Fortisdick-119. Next. So IRI we have developed, as a pathologist I was also one of the developer in that variety. So recently we have developed HI877, HI1612, HD3171, HI1605, HI8759. These varieties are having high level of resistance against all the diseases, particularly the rust, canal bund, fusarium head scab, and other diseases also. And beside this, these varieties having high level of yield parameters and the other quality parameters. Next. Chemical control is very effective things. If some races appears in the field, they break the resistance, then we need the spray of chemical. So there are several chemicals, and we use mostly the farmers using the propiconazole at the rate of 0.1%, means you will recommend like that 200 liter of water and the 1 liter of this propiconazole. Other chemicals are also effective, tebuconazole and tridimethorphan. I have given the name of this trade name also, but frankly speaking, we should not tell the trade name. We always use the because we should not stuck any controversy. So we always recommend based on their chemical name. Okay. Next. We have also conducted experiment at IRI to study the impact of different fungicide molecules, newer fungicide molecules, and their impact on development of rust and grain yield. So here you can see we have tested different molecules, and this bar is representing the rust severity in control. So here you can see this blue color is with the azoxystrobin, and which is highly effective in the managing the rust. And we have also studied next please, studied the effect of different fungicide spray timing on the development of yellow rust, and we have observed that the flag leaf stage is very crucial for the development of yellow rust. If yellow rust appears on the flag, definitely you will have big yield loss. So if you will recommend farmers to spray any systemic fungicide on that stage, you will be more yield at the time. So next please. Bilateral control is another alternative approach for this managing the rust pathogen, because you all are aware about the hazardous effect of chemicals spray, and biological control microbial antagonist will provide a alternative approach, eco-friendly and innovative things. So since this rust is a very destructive and serious concern, so people are working, scientists are working to identify bioagents, and they have identified some, but mostly it is not effective in epidemic cases. So these are some bioagents like Bacillus subtilis, Cladosporium cladosporides, and Bacillus subtilis, Pseudomonas fluorescens, Bacillus amyloleucophaciens, Bacillus polymixa, and many more. Many scientists have worked on it, and they found better result in managing the rust. Next. So here you can see the Cladosporium cladosporide is very effective in managing the stipe rust in field. Many scientists have conducted experiment and published the data. Trichoderma harginum and Streptomyces viridosporus is also effective against the leaf rust pathogen. Next. We have conducted experiment at IRI using PGPR, plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, and we used as a seed pelleting, and we in glasshouse experiment, and we observed that Bacillus subtilis formulation is quite effective in managing the leaf rust at 10 gram per liter, the dose, and others are also effective, but this Bacillus subtilis is having. Next. Now we come to the wheat blast. Wheat blast is earlier this was not a major concern to our to wheat crop, but in recent past we have several occurrence in Bolivia and other country also, where you can see the wheat blast is first time observed in the Paraná state of the Brazil in 1955, and then subsequently it is spread to the Bolivia and Paraguay to Argentina. Next. And recently we in 2015-16 and 16-17 Bangladesh has a new problem of this wheat blast, and in 2015-16 I have visited different districts of Bangladesh in 2016 also and 2017, and we have observed that more than 15,000 hectare area covered with the infection of the blast. During 2016-17, the infected area was less, but the severity covers 2 or 3 more districts also. So this outbreak in Bangladesh is very much serious, because we are sharing border with Bangladesh, and since most of the infection is nearby the India. The red color is a high severe infection. So our in West Bengal we have a Murshidabad, Nadia, Malda. We are sharing the border with this, and we are in threat and people are working to mitigate this threat, to devise techniques to avoid further movement from Bangladesh to our country. Next. So these are some pictures taken from the Bangladesh field by me. I have collected here. You can see the basically this is a typical symptom of wheat blast. It appears in the mid center of the spikes, and here you can see the patches appearance in the main field, silver patches appearance, and it's mimic the physiological maturity of the plant. If you have a infection of wheat blast in your field, you confuse with the physical maturity. You thought that my crop is matured, but if then when you harvest, you will not get any single grain in your. Next. Here you can see he is Dr. Pawan Singh. He is a wheat pathologist and head division of plant pathology at CIMMYT, Mexico. And I have taken pictures from one Bangladeshi farmers, and he is very furious because he doesn't have any grain in their wheat field, and he thought that his crop is matured. So here you can see the upward movement of downward movement is not there in this wheat blast, and the symptoms is almost similar in which occurs in the rice, in case of rice blast also. And here you can see sometimes the bi-cell two-septate pyriform conidia of the Magnaporthi or Titsai. Next. So why this disease is becoming very much problem? Because this disease is basically a seed-borne and airborne also, and it appears in a patches, and development dispersal is very high. So several gramineaceous plants are already infected, and it's also have a alternate host, that is many grasses. And rains at the time of maturity and high relative humidity, warm temperature are very much conducive for the development of this disease. So no durable resistance sources are still identified in India, and this pathogen is a very diverse, executing many pathotypes, and chemicals are also not effective in case of wheat blast. People are working, but at present we don't have any chemicals that is having high level of efficacy against this pathogen. And this pathogen has also developed the resistance against the many fungicides. Next, please. So in India, the government of India, in association with IIWBR Karnal and IRI, we have established a ad hoc IPM program, and we have suggested to the state government of Bangladesh no wheat zone, not to grow wheat in 3 kilometer range in West Bengal adjoining the Bangladesh border. So in this 3 kilometer zone, we have advised not to grow wheat in Murshidabad, Nadia district for 3 years. And we advise to grow the non-host crops like pulses, oilseed crops in that particular zone. So these strategy we usually call as wheat holiday. We also suggested the replacement of older wheat varieties, because at Bangladesh, West Bengal, people are using the older variety which are having high level of resistance against wheat blast. So seed treatments before sowing is also recommended. Stick survey and surveillance is also advised to the pathologists of West Bengal. Monitoring of Magnaporthi or Rhizid triticum and other hosts also. And for preventive measure, India has sent 100 varieties of wheat against for screening against blast through CIMMYT channel, and these varieties are being screened at Bolivia and the CIMMYT and the USDA, USA, and we are very much fortunate that we have identified some of the material that is having high level of resistance against wheat blast in our country. Next. So host resistance, I am not going detail. The Milan is having high level of resistance, and that is 2NS translocation segment of the wheat chromosome. And beside this Milan source is also resistance to the leaf rust resistant, having leaf rust resistant gene also, stem rust resistant gene, yellow rust resistant gene, and nematode resistant gene also. Next. So these are the some of the sources, resistant genes which are identified by the scientists, and you can take the references, you can utilize these genes into your breeding program to develop resistance variety. Next. These are the some promising sources which is already identified as a resistance against the wheat blast, like Milan, Royal Super 152, Misr, Motakau, like that. Next. So in India, since we have visited different country also, Bangladesh, and we have gained some knowledge on, advanced knowledge on identification, characterization, and the pathogen behavior also we have learned. And next please. We have also visited the United States Department of Agriculture, USA, and the INEA Center, which is situated at Bolivia, and Mexico also, and we have also discussed with the scientists to prepare a strategy for wheat blast management in our country. Next. So thank you very much for your patience hearing. Any question? Any question? No question. Over. Yes.
Sir, actually I have some basic doubts, like how the sample collections will be done. Like what are the, while going for sample collection, you will be collecting wheat seeds.
Today afternoon we'll have discuss on rust sampling collection. We have a practical class, and in this class we'll discuss different type of sampling, what is the procedure of collecting sample, which type of sample is required, in which envelope you will use, and how you will send the samples to the other parts of the across the country. So we'll discuss in that.
It
Okay.
includes soil and water collections also, right?
We'll tell you because this training is very specific to wheat and other cereals also. So in case of wheat, we mostly use the leaf sample, but we'll let you know about the soil sample collection also. Okay.
So then another one question, like you told HI 8777 are highly resistant.
HI.
HI.
Yeah,
So,
I got.
compared to other wheat varieties, so why are they more resistant than them? Like
Actually, the development of wheat variety is a continuous process, and I have shown you the wheat varieties which is recently developed. So what breeder they are doing like that, they are selecting the populations from the
wild types, like
wild types. Maybe they cross with the already reported resistance lines also. In case of if you have a resistance line, you can cross and back cross, and you will get the resistance sources. You need not to go for a long screening process.
by selecting the top 2 resistant varieties, you have brought
everything will be discussed in the afternoon classes, and tomorrow at the day after tomorrow there will be a lecture on specifically on the screening procedures. How we will create the artificial epiphytic, how we'll select, what are the criteria to everything you will get. Don't be hurry.
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Sure.
Everything will be provided to you at right time. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Any question? No question. Tea break.
What HI stands for? Like HD, derivatives of
HI.
HI.
HI means this variety is specifically developed by the breeders from IRI Regional Station Indore. So they use the abbreviation of HI. If the breeders they have developed variety from IRI, they use